What's up, Zach Heidi here, let's chat. So last week I talked about how we deal with the impatience and the frustration that comes with trying to compose full-time, right? Like it takes a long time to get there in this career. What are you supposed to do in the meantime? How can you focus on your health? How can you be okay with the journey? That said, there are still things that you can be doing to see results a little bit sooner and get some wins so you can stay motivated in the process. So what I want to do today is give you some super quick tips to help you immediately start getting some better wins as you progress through your journey. And today we're going to focus specifically on networking because I think networking is the thing that composers really hide from. It's also one of the things that for some reason nobody talks about online, how we actually can leverage our network to get better opportunities. Now, in each of these things, the who, the how, and the what, I'm going to share the biggest mistakes that composers make, what you should be doing instead, and I'm going to give you some examples so that you can actually see it in action and how it works. If you find all this helpful, I definitely recommend subscribing to the channel. I'm going to try and do these every week or pretty regularly. And if you're interested in learning more, definitely check out the 6-week bootcamp that I've created for composers. It's linked in the description. So first, let's talk about the who. Who are we supposed to reach out to? Well, the number one mistake that I see composers making early on is they tend to aim for the top. If you're trying to write Pixar music, you might be inclined to reach out to Michael Giacchino, or reach out to John Williams if you want to write music like Star Wars, or Hans Zimmer, Remote Control Studios. People tend to go to the top because they're so inspired by that music or the composers or the directors that they think that's what they have to do next. Now that's a big problem. Number one, those guys are super busy. They're probably not going to have the time to be able to help you out. But there's a deeper problem than that, and that is that those people really can't serve you in your goals at this point in time. If you're just getting started and you reach out to John Williams, what is John Williams going to be able to offer you that's going to help you out at this point in your journey? You might be thinking, oh, well, maybe I can help him with a project. John Williams needs some top-tier help. You might not be at that point yet. So reaching out to him, even if he wanted to help you, he would not be able to offer you the help that you really need. So instead, what I want you to do is I want you to start focusing on people either one level above you or 1 degree away from you. Now, what do I mean by that? One level above you would be if you're just getting started, you've just started to compose, you don't have any work opportunities, you need to find someone who has just started to get some work opportunities. Those are the people who are going to have the best experience and guidance to offer you because they've just gotten above the level that you're at now. If you are networking, you have a really solid network, but you're not converting those people into clients or projects, you need to talk to someone who's really good at that because they'll have advice that's going to be immediately actionable to you. Now, if you're talking about 1 degree away from you, that's going to be really simple. That's just people that you know that know other people. So you've always got someone who's 1 degree away from you. I wrote down a couple examples of that. Maybe you've got a high school classmate who is involved in entertainment, right? So the first thing that you'd want to do is find that person, not reach out to Hans Zimmer because that person already knows you. It's going to be easier to build that trust relationship, and they're going to be able to refer you out to someone that they know that could help you in your journey. It could also be a composer you connected with on social media. It doesn't have to be someone you know person to person. It could be someone you connect with online. And then I also wrote down a local orchestra director as an example of finding somebody locally. Sometimes we tend to think so broadly, like I want to do film music, that we don't think, hey, wait a second, if I want to write music for people, maybe there's an opportunity to do it in my hometown, locally, or maybe the next city over. So I want you to start connecting the dots a little bit. When you think, who do I reach out to? Don't start shooting towards people that you don't know. Start shooting with people that you do know and expand outwards from there. Now the how. How do we actually reach out to these people? Well, the biggest mistake that people make early on in their career is they immediately ask for work. I've talked about this in the boot camp. This is a problem. The reason why is even on the slimmest chance that that person might have work for you. The deeper problem is if they don't have work and you immediately ask for it, you're kind of setting up this relationship from like a, hey, if you can't help me, then I don't have anything I can offer you, right? So you're not focusing on building a relationship so early. You're actually focusing on just like, I want work, give me work. That doesn't serve the other person. So oftentimes when you do this, people will ignore you. And that's why when people send out cold emails, composers, they're like, nobody's responding to my emails. And I say, show me your emails. And all the emails are, I'd love to write music for you. I want to write music for you. And it's like, you got to slow down, you got to build the relationship, and then you can work towards that. So what do you do when you connect with people? I wrote down 3 tips. If you're interested in this, again, like I said, the bootcamp has way, way more than this. This is something we have from the bootcamp that has a bunch of different processes and some scripts on how we do that. But just for some quick pointers, keep it brief, respect people's time, don't send big, long emails, be personal. When you reach out to people, don't send blanket template emails. Be really specific about what you like about their stuff and why you're reaching out to them specifically. We call this a trigger. What triggered you to reach out to them specifically? And then finally, create a really small next step ask. It's not going to be asking for work. It's probably going to be something like a referral, getting a question answered, or hopping on maybe like a 15-minute phone call. Something really small that's easy for them to do. Below, I wrote some examples of that. Can you think of someone you might be able to help me that you'd be willing to connect me with? Right? That's a really small ask. They could say, oh, yeah, I know this person who might be able to help you in your career. The other example I put was, could you spare 15 minutes for a brief phone call so I could ask a few questions about your career? I'd be really appreciative. This is where you're going to suck up a little bit because you're asking something from them. So you want to make sure that they know that you appreciate their time. But these are small asks that are not involved in asking for work. Now, when you do these things, don't ask for work. Don't do it. Focus on building the relationship, getting some value from them in a small form that's reasonable early on. Lastly, let's talk about the what. Now, this is what you're supposed to do afterwards. Let's say that all things have gone well. You reached out to a high school classmate. You asked for a referral. They gave you a referral. You hopped on a 15-minute call and you got some information from them. What do you do now? You didn't get work. What are you supposed to do? Well, the number one mistake that composers make, if you could believe it, is they stop. They just give up. They go, I didn't get what I needed out of this person. I didn't get any work, so it didn't work. So I have to try something else. And they move on. Remember last week I talked about we don't stick with stuff long enough to see the results a lot of the times. And in this case, networking and building relationships obviously takes time. So you can't give up on these relationships. You want to build them from a slow, easy, nurturing foundation and keep developing them. So you need to keep that relationship going. You need to find ways to offer value to that person so you can actually reciprocate, and you can explore ways to help that person. Some examples of this include weekly check-ins via social media. When I see composers or people that I really admire that I want to keep in touch with, I'll just check in and see what they're doing. Leave a like, leave a comment, talk about them, right? Just let them know that I'm still thinking of them. Email hellos on holidays. This is just a fun one that I came up with. So it's Christmas, right? Or if you celebrate something else, it's that holiday. Reach out to that person. Say, hey, Merry Christmas. I'm thinking of you. Hope all's been well. What you been up to, right? Keep it brief, but just say hello. Another one, send tools or resources when you think of them. I've done this before. I've connected with some composers that I really got along with, and I've been like, hey, I just made this VST, and I thought you might like it. Here you go. Just send it. So just give gifts to people. And then the last one, and this one does lead to work often, is ask what their biggest pain point is. This is something I recommend you do deeper in the relationship. I wouldn't necessarily do this right out of the gate, but this is something you can do with people that you already know. Be like, hey, what are you struggling with right now? Like, is there anything I can help you with? Because what we tend to do is we tend to focus on what we want to do. So we're like, I want to write orchestral music, and we focus on that. Instead, if you ask, what do you need help with? You find opportunities to service those people. And that way there's mutual benefit. You're getting some potential work opportunities, and they're getting their pain points met. These are all the ways that I promise you, if you start implementing these things and changing the way you're approaching networking this way, you're going to see immediate results so fast. And I know that's true because the 80 plus students we've had in the bootcamp so far have done this and have immediately seen results. And if you want to see that for yourself, either check out the bootcamp or just read the testimonials on the landing page, because this stuff really does work. It worked for me, and I hope it works for you. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this stuff. Let me know what you'd like me to dig into a little bit more on this, or things that I haven't covered, and I'll cover that in future videos. But in the meantime, I hope you find this helpful. Hope it gets you some quick wins. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.